So I think we are live.
How do you think, Ryan? Should we get started?
Yeah, do you want to start and introduce yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are right now on the planet. Welcome you all to our Magma interactive webinar. I'm Rob Jablonski. I'm VP of Customer Success with Magma, and I'm happy to be here together with my colleague, Ryan. Ryan, can you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, everyone. My name is Ryan. I'm a freelance independent artist. My background is in fine arts and also been doing a lot of content creation. And so now I'm here blending making art and writing together to create stuff for Magma. So yeah, excited to be showing you guys around the software today.
Yes. Our intention when it comes to this webinar with Ryan is that you are not going to be hammered and exposed to a number of talking heads. You are not going to be forced to watch number of PowerPoint slides. Our intention is that you are going to be actually co-host, that you are going to engage, you are going to immerse in Magma, and you are going to co-create this webinar. Because Magma is about collaboration and it's about engagement and having fun with this. So with that said, let's get started, and very quickly let's get to those parts that they are going to enable you to jump into Magma and start, being part of that. But a couple of information up front. So let me start with a few things that we observe when working with you. The life of the art leader, and you know it best, is not an easy thing. And actually, it is going to get even worse. It's going to be more stressed. It requires from you to have the really focus on a number of different things. It requires from you to take sometimes unpopular decisions to move the project forward. You have to give direction to the teams and at the same time to collaborate also with the rest of the organizations. In the meantime, even if you are working in the same room or we are having the virtual engagements, it's a lot about having people creative, collaborating, engaged, and having fun. And that's usually a problem. At the same time, you are also responsible for delivering the right quality of the final artwork that you're working on. So that could be the piece of your portfolio that you are able to be proud of. And last but not least, all of this you have to do, keeping the deadlines and making sure that you are going to be within the budget. That's not easy thing, isn't it? When we speak to a number of studios, doesn't matter the size of them, doesn't matter how long they are in the business. What is sticking out is that when it comes to this creative part of the process, although we are speaking about creating digital art, this is, surprise, surprise, very manual. When we had been meeting ourselves pre-COVID times in one room, we were utilizing walls, we were using floors, and we were creating paper drawings, which required then from us, to, in one way, collecting them and sharing with the rest of the team. Anyway, the process is extremely time-consuming and extremely manual. Sorry for that. There is a new reality with the COVID. Everybody has accelerated with the journey to get into these virtual rooms. That's on one side great. That enables us to meet, to talk, to so to say collaborate. But actually, that's again pretty lame because, like we are sitting right now in this virtual room, do you feel really engaged when I'm talking, when I'm sharing my screen, and you are not really the part of that? Sharing screens is just killing us right now, and I think that is killing the collaboration. And most of us, we are really tired of having these Zoom meetings and Google Meets, and just the engagement is not really working in our favor here. And then after those meetings, those fantastic meetings, even that we could have through the Zoom, through the Google Meets, the job of the art leader is to collect that information which has been discussed. And although we are in 21st century, this is a lot about copying and pasting and distributing, both to their teams, as well as to maybe the management or maybe to the marketing. It takes a lot of time. And actually, it's very difficult to scale. So sometimes we are coming with great ideas, and we are having a software and tools to solve that 2D project management, to solve communication across the organization and maybe with the outer world. So we have nice solutions for small areas, small problems. But actually, if you take the helicopter viewing, it's tons of them. And I think that our team members on our creative teams, they are scared about having yet another one nice to have tool, which is going to just add to this complexity and makes the life and the work even more difficult and cumbersome. And in the end of the day, there's this brutal reality that number of our projects are delayed. Yes, and this is the common thing across the board. Doesn't matter if we are in the game development studios or we are in animation world. This is not that we being, or you being the art leaders, you have this privilege and fun in working on one project at the same time. Sometimes you work on 2, 3, and sometimes on multiple ones. And that's very difficult to manage the timelines and manage the budget. And on top of that, this is another brutal reality that the art leaders have to face: the churn and attrition among the team members. I'm broadcasting right now from Texas, from Austin, and the standard here in the country right now is around 20 to 25% voluntary leavers in the art spaces, in the art organizations. That's very difficult to maintain the engagement of the remaining part of the team. And that's very difficult to maintain the timeline and the budget, because you as art leaders, you have to spend necessary time making sure that you are going to get up to speed the new person and making sure that the rest of the team is still going to be productive. Not an easy thing. But there is a solution finally. So we at Magma, we came up with the art spaces, and this is the signal for all of you to consider to get out from these vicious circles. There is a solution which is going to answer most of those issues immediately. You are going to immerse into Magma in a second together with Ryan, but this is how it is going to look like. You will have fantastic, really professionally graded piece of software which is going to help you with paintings and drawings. At the same time, this is the first space that you have true collaboration features in there, enabling you not only to sit and watch, but really to co-create and communicate completely differently with your team members. It will drive collaboration. It will help you to automate your processes. It will drive engagement immensely to completely different levels. And in the end of the day, when it comes to working on the productivity side, it will help you to manage multiple projects at the same time with the same resources. And the good news about Magma is that this is so easy and intuitive to use. Those of you who used to work with like Google environment, it is going to be as simple as that. You are going to have your projects, you are going to have your folders, you are going to have your artworks. Doesn't matter if this is going to be a single canvas or that's going to be maybe a storyboard. You will see what of your team members are assigned to a specific project. You are going to see who has been working on that and whether they were following your recommendation and instructions. And by the way, they can communicate with each other, not waiting for the session to be open like this webinar right now. Depending on you and your time and your availability, they can immerse into Magma and do the job, working with each other in asynchronous as well. And the good thing about Magma is that you don't need to change your existing processes. Applying Magma, just use your current processes. Magma is going to automatically, seamlessly, in a very nice way, just enhance them. If you use your current technology stack, you have your final touch software that you would like to still use to fine-tune your drawings. No problem with that. You don't need to scrap it. Magma is going to talk seamlessly with those systems, exporting and importing from them. So the life is going to be super easy. And speaking about easy, sometimes the softwares that we are implementing into our businesses, it demands a lot of time when it comes to onboarding. There is a good news about Magma. It's super easy. With our tailor-made and really personalized onboarding plans, I can guarantee you that you will start working Magma within 2 hours. And not only we are not speaking about one person, we are speaking about the entire team you have on board. So in a second, Ryan is going to invite you to the true space, to Magma. This is the end of me being a talking head. You are going to see this fantastic space with really professional grade painting tools, with tons of collaboration features that up to 30 people can edit the same drawing at the same time and using 100 independent layers. So, Ryan, let the Magma begins. Passing the baton to you. You unmute, I think.
Sorry. Cool. Thanks, Rob. Thanks for pointing that out. Before we get going, just let us know where you're joining from in the comments section. It would be nice to know where everyone's logged in from. We've got users all over the world, so it'd be great to see where you're coming from today. So the first thing when you log into Magma is you're going to arrive at your art desk and your art spaces. So the art desk, think of this as your private desk space, your private dashboard, where you'll be able to see, what projects you've been engaged with recently, but more in your private capacity. And then on the left side, you have different art spaces that can be created, and these are they're shared spaces that are for you and your team. So if we go here, for example, to the demo squad, which has got myself and Rob and Vito over here, who's in the background. Here you can have quite a elaborate file and project management going on, and you can have different art spaces set for either different teams working together on the same game, for example. So you might want to keep your environment artists together on one art space while your character designers are in another. And then within that, you can start creating different projects, maybe for different characters or different maps, for example, in a game. And as you go into each project, you can sort further and organize better by having multiple folders and canvases arranged. So yeah, and importing, you can import your files as PSD, which is quite nice. As Rob was mentioning, we want this to be able to integrate quite seamlessly with your existing systems already. So most of us are working in Photoshop a lot of the time for our work, and you'll be able to easily import and export as PSD. When it comes to creating new canvases, you've got some basic presets set already, and you can also create custom sizes, and they have a really high res. You can go up to 8,000 pixels, no problem. Another thing to point out here is that when you arrive into an art space, you'll be able to see which canvases are live right now, where you've got users active and what they're busy working on. And if you go into the recent tab, you can see which canvases you've been involved with recently, and easily be able to jump back to them without having to go through your various folders. The other option, if you're looking for something quite specific, is that you have a search bar on the top right here, and you can search for a particular canvas. So if I were to type in Rob, it would show me what's there. And you can filter according to which art space you're searching in, which you can see over here. And yeah, so that's pretty much your art space. You can also see which users are online here on the bottom left. And now we will jump back into the canvas. So cool. Let's switch through a couple of things here, which made some multi-boards. So the first thing when you arrive on a new canvas, you're going to notice that the interface is very familiar, right? Again, with wanting this to integrate quite seamlessly with existing software, this, for me, when I first used it, it felt a lot like Photoshop. I could come in, I wouldn't have to spend any time trying to figure out where things are or what this icon means or anything like that. It all felt like the software I was already comfortable using, which is important, especially if you know that your teammates are going to be coming offline and then bring stuff online and possibly exporting again. We want that to feel as natural as possible. So on the left, we've got our different tools. You'll be able to move things around. You've got your marquee tools for selection, your lasso tools. And on the right, you'll notice underneath your color wheel that when you move to different tools, you'll get some different options for those tools showing up. You've got your transform tool and your eyedropper, all the standard stuff that you're used to working with. Pencil, which is going to be your hard sort of square brush, and then your normal brush, which has quite a range of options. Now, normally our free users only have access to a round brush with varying softness, which is these top 4. And then with our pro users, they get access to a whole lot more. So there's a range of textured brushes here, and you'll be able to import your own brushes as well. So if you've made some brushes in-house that you prefer for your team to be using, that'll be no problem to bring those in. So yeah, and then above that, you'll see that you can change a lot of the settings for your brushes, your different sizes, your density or flow. You'll be able to activate a stabilize as well, and also change the shape of your brush if you want to. Again, a lot of this is customizable. If you have specific things for your team, you'll be able to bring that in. Now, with the obvious thing here is that Magma is browser-based, right? So there's no need to download any software. You just got to go into your browser, preferably Google Chrome, and log in from there. So it doesn't matter what device you're using. You don't have to worry about downloading apps or having the latest version or anything like that. As long as you have pen pressure input, then you'll be fine in your browser. Speaking of pen pressure, here's where you'll notice that you can activate or deactivate your pressure settings. And so I can turn that off and just have, maximum size not changing, but it responds really well to pressure as well. Then we've got the full bucket tool, which is quite nice here because you can not only just fill an entire layer, but you can have it respond to different layers. You can decide what layer is active. So you can set it to recognize the layers below, and it will just cover that on a layer. But if you wanted to only affect the active layer, you can do that too. So it's quite nice. You can work with the paint bucket tool in different ways. Now, one of the key things with Magma is to speed up the ideation process and giving feedback. And one tool that's quite nifty with that, I know a lot of people like to work with the lasso and then full tool, but we've got the lasso and paint bucket merged together here with the lasso full, which is really, really nice to use. You can build up shapes so quickly with this. And it's easy when you're speaking with someone, trying to get an idea across. You can build up shapes and silhouettes very quickly using a tool like this. And you'll have some different settings to customize with that too. If you're working with comics and you like to have a bit of a halftone look going, you can easily work with that as well. Then we've got your various shapes, which you can set to be either a stroke or full shape. It's quite nice as well. And then to further speed up that ability to get ideas across and play with different ideas with your team, is that we have a whole lot of custom shapes that most of these have been developed by Pitch Dev Studios. But if you want your own shapes, that can be done as well. So this just lets you put down various things in a quick way if you want to demonstrate where things are going to be placed. You can, within a matter of seconds, have a brief composition set out in front of you, and then the art director can say yay or nay, or shift this over to the side. Maybe that character should be bigger, whatever the case may be. Some of those will be able to change to have the stroke setting as well, or full as it is by standard. The other nice thing with this is that it responds to the direction that it's being dragged in. So if I'm clicking and dragging from top left down to bottom right, I can make that much narrower, I can make it much broader. But if I move it above that line, or if I were to be dragging from the bottom upward, it flips. So it's going to flip across that line horizontally or vertically, which is really nice. You can play with those shapes in various ways. Okay, let's see what next. Okay, more on tools here. We've got just underneath the color wheel, we've got different tool presets. So if you customizing your brush in various ways, you want this to be a particular size with a particular flow level, you can have that set as your first preset, and these will change according to the keys on your number pad, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then if you have a whole lot of them set, you'll easily be able to switch between them without having to change those brush settings again. But if you click on the brush a second time after making changes, it'll go back to its default settings. So that's also a convenient little thing to have built in. Let's try to get rid of this. What else? Okay, so with the layers panel here, as Rob mentioned, you can have up to 30 people joining you on a single canvas. And I know for me, just on my own in Photoshop, being particularly bad about layer management and naming my layers and constantly finding myself painting on the wrong layer, it can get pretty chaotic. So you can imagine what it's like if you have 30 users and up to 100 layers. It can get a bit messy. But what you'll notice is, if we go back, let's go back to this first canvas, the layers are color coded to the users that come in. So there'll be a color bar here, like underneath my name, it's red. So any layers that are assigned to me, it's a bit of slow loading here, they'll have a red stroke next to them as well, so you know who's on that layer. The layers are protected as well while you're in them. If I'm active on a particular layer, no one else can come into my layer and make any changes. They can draw over it on their own layer, but they won't be able to make any changes to the content that exists on my layer. So here you can see Rob's identified by pink over here, and myself is red. So you'll easily know who's on those layers. And as an admin for the space, you'll be able to adjust the permissions. So if you don't want people to be able to take over any other layers, then you can change those settings up in your admin panel over here. Yeah. So again, with making things feel quite familiar, with all of these tools, there's also a range of shortcuts that match up with the software that we're all using already. So being able to switch between your brush and eraser, B and E, it's all the same. To activate your color picker using Alt, it's all what we're used to already, and you can easily change that by going into your application settings through the Edit tab over here, and you'll see that there's quite a wide range here for your view, selection, layers, all sorts of things. So you can customize things to suit your workflow as well. And if you're using, say, Intuos Pro like I've got here, I can easily just set my express keys to also match up with the hotkeys in Magma, so that it all feels like I'm working back in Photoshop really quite easily. Now, as much as this is great for ideation and developing ideas, you can push things, to whatever degree you want. You can create a fairly polished work as well. It can always go a bit further. So this is something I've just been playing with in Magma. It's a little artist raccoon. Which isn't quite done yet, but you can take things much further than just rough, muddy shapes. Another cool thing that I've quite liked is that you can, while we don't have a navigator in here, right? You can set a particular view. So if I want to zoom out and get a decent bird's eye view of things, I can go to my view over here, set save view, and then when I go back in playing around with whatever details, I can hit restore view, and it'll take me back to that. So I can easily switch between that bird's eye view and being back on the canvas quite quickly and easily. So yeah, I've covered ideation, all that. Now the other thing is being able to give feedback quite easily, and there's a few different ways that we can do that. The first is with a chat box, which we've got just by pushing enter, and you can easily, I like this. You can easily start having a conversation here with other users. That's something that all of our free users have access to as well. But the other option is to have a voice call. Let's drop this. So just next to your chat box over here, you can also start a call by clicking that, and any of your other users that are active on the canvas can join you right away. And you can give feedback just normally as though they were in the room with you, which is really quite convenient, rather than having to type out these emails and put through feedback like that. The next option, which is particularly nice if would say if your users aren't online at a particular point in time, is this comment tool that we have over here. And this lets you put a pin on the canvas with feedback pertaining to that particular area, right? And you can add as many as you want, and then when that person logs back in, they're going to see that there are comments available for them on the canvas. When I switch to a different tool, it becomes much smaller and less sort of in the way. And when this happens, when someone does this on your canvas, you're going to start getting notifications in your art space. So here, you won't see it now because I left a comment myself, but you'll get a little red icon over here that says there's unresolved comments or feedback for you to go in and view. So it's really quite nifty. What else? Have I missed anything there, Rob? Check my notes here.
No, I think we're good to go.
That about covers it. Okay, so I just want to point out there are other features that are in the works. Particularly with giving feedback, there's going to be the option to kind of peel back different versions and iterations of drawings, and instead of just having a typed comment, you'll be able to add in voice notes and paint overs that match up with that as well. So if you've got teammates in other parts of the world, they're asleep at the time that you're busy reviewing something, you can do a live sort of paint over, memo note combined, and then when they come in, they can see exactly what you're trying to get across through the paint over, which is a great feature. So now I think we can have some fun with this. We're going to ask if you guys can come along and draw with me and see what sort of an offer here. But what we're going to do is we're going to shift over to my personal Magma space rather than this particular art space I've been showing you because of security. The thing with art spaces, they are secure, and the admins have to approve people coming in through providing their email addresses. And obviously we didn't do that for this webinar, so I can't invite you to join the canvas that we're showing you on display now. So we're going to go across now to my personal space. If you would like to join me, I've got a canvas here with just a prompt of musical orcs or an orcish rock band. That'll be a fun thing. You're welcome to play with that idea if you want. Otherwise, play around with the tool, see what's there. If you haven't registered already, you'll be registering as a free user, and you'll have access to some of the basic tools. So not everything that I've shown you in this demo will be available on this canvas, but you'll have the basic brushes and some shapes, the lasso tool as well. So feel free to come along. And now is probably a good time. If you have any questions, you can drop those in the comments, and either myself or Rob can address that. As I was mentioning as well, with Magma being browser-based, it doesn't really matter what sort of device you're using. You know, I'm sitting here with an Intuos Pro connected to my laptop, but I could just as easily take the iPad, go sit in a coffee shop, open up Chrome, and log into Magma straight to my browser, continue the work that I'm busy with. And it all automatically saves as well. It's a nice thing to not have to worry about. So if you have any questions about the tools, please do drop a comment, and I will wait for some folks to join me, or I'll start drawing someone maybe. I'm a pro user, so I will be working with some texture brushes. Most of you, I think, will be just having the round brush with the varying hardness and softness. Actually, I'll just use that as well. We've got some anonymous users joining. Great. Create a layer for myself here. Another thing I want to point out is when it comes to, obviously when you've got a lot of viewers on one canvas, what if I want to zoom in? Is that going to affect anybody else? And the answer is no. The view of your canvas is local. So you don't have to worry about zooming in on details. That's not going to affect anyone else's view of the canvas. It's only going to be you. So if you want to, you can flip your canvas as well. There's the fourth button from the right up top will let you flip the canvas. No one else it's not going to affect the canvas for anyone else, just that you'll get a flip view, and it'll tell you in the bottom right, bottom left, sorry, when you do that. One thing I didn't mention was that there's another feature called Storyboard. You might have noticed a switching between panels earlier in the demo. Instead of just having a single canvas, you can have, when you create a new canvas, you can create multiples as well that will match up with the same resolution that you set for that canvas originally. And that's a nice thing if you want to keep your thumbnails on one thing before moving on to a more refined image on another panel, but it groups those canvases together so that you don't have to now go and open up a whole new document. I don't know what I'm drawing here. So if you want to set up a storyboard for a cinematic sequence, for example, or the pages of a comic, then that multi-board feature, which is available to our pro users and for art spaces, is really handy. And even doing presentations like we were doing today. Yeah, thanks, Wojtek, for pointing out the Magma being good for overpaints. And Ian, thank you, yeah. So that is something that's being looked at the moment. I did have a set of models, well, just one model repeated, brought in just as an image that you can easily paint over, but there'll be slightly more integration down the line for 3D. And Tahil, as you using Adobe Photoshop, how do you feel like this compares in terms of layout? Does it all look quite familiar and easy to jump into for you?
So please use the comments bar, or if you are able to check in, use this voice messaging so we could hear you.
Are you referring to the voice messaging for in LinkedIn itself or on the canvas, Rob?
On the canvas.
Okay, cool. I think I'll have to initiate a call for that. Free users won't be able to initiate one. Yes. So now I think you should be able to see that there's the option to join a call on the bottom right next to your layers panel, and you're welcome to jump into that and ask questions.
Please let us know if you have any problems to check in to the specific canvas and maybe start using the painting features. Okay? Normally, when you are going to have sessions like that with your teams, this is not going to be that quiet. The room is going to be full of both drawing as well as the exchanging of comments, opinions, both in the text messages as well as this voice chatting. So that's going to be super, super exciting.
It's big. And you can think of using this even within everyone in a physical environment as well. As much as this is great when you've got people in different locations being able to log in, you give feedback quite easily no matter where people are placed. Even within the same meeting room, for example, you could have one person projecting the canvas up on the wall while you're all busy brainstorming. And if your other artists are sitting there with an iPad, for example, they could easily just log in, draw while they're sitting there to demonstrate ideas or provide some feedback, change things around. So it's great for that remote aspect, but even within the physical meeting space, it can be quite a useful tool.
All right, so let's carry on for maybe 1 minute more on this one. And then what's next, Ryan?
Okay, now this is the trick. I was thinking we were going to stick to this. So what I can do is I'll just copy and paste over model and can draw and paint on top of that. I think that'll work. Where's my layer? Shift this all up. Let me change my view here.
So how is it going for those who have visited Magma for the first time and they are on Canvas right now with Ryan? Is everything okay? Is it going right? Do you have fun?
So I've pasted some models here, and I'm going to move these up to the top, and I'll just cover everything that's been painted so far. And here, for example, the idea is that you can put down a model and people can easily paint over, try out different ideas, try out different compositions or different props, or even change up the lighting, whatever. So give that a bash, see what you think of that. Oh, I think I might have actually just hidden everyone's drawing. Oops, my bad. There we go. So now, for example, I might, with this, decide that these little floating shapes, they could work as floating teacups or something. So I'm going to go into the first one here, and let's change to like a red, could stand out. Might decide, okay, well, these floating blocks lend themselves nicely towards teacup shape. And just start, I suppose, something fun and surreal. So even if you're working with your team trying to figure out, whether an environment for your game should be under warm or cool lighting, day or night, you can bring in the same gray box models and have people just very quickly put together different options around that, or see what it looked like with sort of a boss at varying scales within that environment. So you should be really chunky.
And I would like to draw your attention to one of these great features of Magma, that you all are sitting probably in different parts of the world right now, and I can guarantee you that you don't feel that there is any latency in engaging with the canvas and engaging with the others. So this Magma is built that way that you are going to have really this feel, that you are sitting in the same room and actually you are working on the same screen with everybody without any feel, that you made a stroke and that's going to be visible after, milliseconds on the screen. That's going to be immediately, mimicked on a canvas. So that's this great tool that many people, many studios who have to work in a virtual mode do really admire.
Yeah, nobody has to go back to check their emails and find the right file and anything like that.
It really automates, this entire very difficult creative pre-production phase. So no more, as you are saying, different storage areas, finding the right version, taking that out, and then when the next time the team is going to meet, you are starting again with the blank page. With Magma, it is guaranteeing you that there is going to be always, possibilities to scale, always possibilities to iterate or what you have been discussing and agreed. I don't know, meeting 2 days ago. So easy and so nice tool when it comes to automating those processes in a pre-production. Ryan has mentioned about these multi-boards, which you are seeing here in the bottom of the screen, which could be used for instance, storyboarding. But we have met a number of companies, number of studios who decided to use that for mind maps. And some of them have said that this is saving them a lot of time when it comes to cross-company communication. So instead of building the specific PowerPoint decks to update your marketing teams, you will invite them here. They are going to be just having the view possibilities, and they are going to be up to speed. The same with the management, the same way with the clients that you would like to communicate with. So that is one point of contact for everybody, and kind of really like a platform for starting your day, carry on with your day, and finishing your day in one place. Okay, Ryan. So what is the next point on the agenda?
So the other option here that I had was, if you get given, a lot of things start with a text description, right, of a character or an environment, a story that needs to be conveyed. So I just used a character generator for this, but I'll drop in a thing here, and I might have to cover up what everyone has drawn. Let's see. Yeah, please. Bring it to the top. So I'm going to just create a bit of a white background behind this. It's easy to read. So you can give people a description. Okay, we don't have text available yet in Magma, but you can get transparent PNGs and just drop that in if you're working on comics, for example, and easily fit that into your speech bubbles. So here I've got a little description of a character idea that you might want for a fantasy game or a race that your character is going to interact with. And you can have your entire team, while sitting there, play around with different ideas, different head shapes, different jewelry, all kinds of things. So let me give this a go myself, actually. So yeah. Okay. So the average member of this race is built similar to that of humans. Generally 6.5 heads tall, skin covered light gray scales, ears that match, shaped like leaves, distinctive markings in their faces. Cool, let's make that darker. I'm still working on my head drawings.
So that's really an important feature when it comes to these very initial phases and stages, Ryan, isn't it? To have the prompt and start, ideating around this. You will never start, with the blank page. So there is a kind of description from, I don't know, maybe someone who has, created a story, which is going to inspire you. That might be, the JPG that you are going to import here. Maybe, the previous drawings that you have created in your Photoshop in PSD format. Something which is going to start, to spark, these ideas and get you, on the same page. And through the rapid sketching, maybe initially changing these informations, you are very quickly going to get to those versions and different, options that you would like the team to start, really working in a process way.
Yeah. Should have warmed up before I came to the canvas. Yeah, plenty of possibilities. And you can easily bring in what you've been working on offline. As I mentioned, you can and as Rob has mentioned, you can bring those PSDs, drop them in, just drag and drop them into your canvas, and together with your art director or with the client, they can immediately give you feedback and draw on top of that, even and mark out areas that they're not happy with, or want you to extend the nose, or whatever the case may be.
So Ryan, also, I think that it's worth mentioning right now when speaking about the PSDs, that Magma has this function to import and export and communicate very seamlessly with Photoshop. So this should work like that when you have these creative sessions with your team members, it could be 3 people, maybe up to 10 people, you are having this 1 hour, 1.5 hours, sessions that you are really coming up with those versions that we would like the rest of the team to continue with. Then you just press the button and export that semi-finished drawing or maybe a task to me, to the individual. And then I'm going to work on my Photoshop immediately on a one-on-one kind of, exercise. I'm going to deliver what I have been tasked with, the homework I have been assigned. And for the next session, when I'm going to engage with you, the entire team, I'm going to bring back, re-export back to Magma what I have finished or, just advanced in my Photoshop. So the entire team is going to up to speed, and we are not going to start with the blank page. That's a fantastic, automation of the entire process. And again, you don't need to scratch anything from the existing text stack. It just Magma is going to talk to your Photoshop in a seamless way. So for the team engagements, Magma is a fantastic place. If you would like to have these fine touches in your preferred industry standard system like Photoshop, you're welcome. Magma provides, for this very seamless and easy export and import features.
Yeah, like I mentioned with the text, for example, that is a tool that is being developed to come in as well. So if you want to easily type in or bring in stuff for comics, that's going to be much easier in the future. That's the thing with Magma. This is what's on offer right now. There are plenty of additional features coming through and are in development at the moment. So, if there's particular things that you would like to see in here, there is the option to also request features and to engage with the Magma team about that so that it can work best for your studio. Yeah, so I think perhaps if there's no other questions, we can start wrapping things up before I embarrass myself further with my drawing.
Yeah, so guys, if you have any further questions, put them into the comments. Otherwise, you can always contact us after this session on LinkedIn or maybe through the email as you wish. I hope that you are enjoying this, both these interactions and just engaging with Ryan on those same canvases. Again, Magma is right now available for professional studios, and this is like you could envision. You could have the Google Drive, with maybe mirror boards all in one. So I think that right now we are able to provide professional game dev and animation studios with something which is going to really accelerate the creative processes, brainstorming, storyboarding, ideation, this extremely important initial stage of the creative art, which is going to result in this, that first of all, guys, you are going to have fun, back fun in the collaboration. And second to that, you are going to have really, you are going to create a really, really quality artworks and in a great times and within a great budgets. So Magma is available right now. Have fun with that. If you have any questions, reach out to us. We are happy to support you and answer all the questions.
Yep, cool.
Ryan,
Thank you very
thanks
much
a lot for this.
joining.
Fantastic job today. Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. Cheers. And thank you, Vito, in the background, who's handling the comments.
Let's give people maybe a couple of seconds to come up with maybe questions and comments. And
Sure.
if we don't see them, thank you very much for today and have a great day. And looking forward to meet you soon, because we are going to continue with those webinars, just having the deeper dives into specific subjects going forward. So looking forward to meet you all next time soon.